last three episodes, we've decoded the UK India Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA. We've looked at what it is. We've explored what is inside it. We've understood how businesses qualify for its benefits. But today, let's leave the agreement behind because treaties don't change economies, people do. So here is the big question. When CETA comes into force, what will actually change on the ground? Will factories suddenly receive more orders? Will new jobs immediately appear? Will businesses suddenly rush into India and UK? The short answer is no. But something equally important begins: the decisions that shape tomorrow's economy. The first thing that changes is not trade, it's confidence. This is where we often misunderstand trade agreements. Ships don't start moving differently on day one, boardrooms do. A British retailer reviewing their sourcing strategy now recalculate the costs with CETA in place. An Indian exporter begins asking whether the UK market has become commercially viable. An investor reviewing a manufacturing expansion now sees a clearer policy framework. Nothing has moved yet, but the conversation has. And in international business, confidence is often the first investment. Confidence leads to decisions. Decisions lead to investment. And investment creates capacity. Imagine an Indian textile company. Before CETA, perhaps exporting to Britain was one option among many. Now, that company may decide to upgrade machinery, obtain international sustainability certification, hire an export manager, participate in trade fairs in Birmingham and in London, not because orders have already arrived, but because the market suddenly looks more attractive. The agreement changes business planning, not overnight sales. But factories don't expand without demand. So, where does demand actually come from? One thing CETA does particularly well is improve predictability. Large retailers, manufacturers, importers, they don't think quarter by quarter, they think 5 years ahead. If tariffs reduce gradually over time, businesses begin redesigning supply chains, perhaps sourcing more garments from India, perhaps increasing imports of engineering products, perhaps investing in long term supplier relationships. These changes don't happen in 1 month, but they often begin with one procurement decision. When supply chains change, communities begin changing too. One export order doesn't only benefit one company, it benefits truck operators, packaging firms, testing laboratories, ports, warehousing, banks financing trade, insurance providers, digital logistics companies. Trade creates ecosystems. That is why economists describe exports as having a multiplier effect. The real beneficiaries often aren't the companies making headlines. They are the thousands of smaller businesses supporting them. But here's where expectations need to be realistic. Many people assume tariffs fall, prices fall. That's rarely how international trade works. Shipping costs, exchange rates, taxes, distribution, retail margins all influence what consumers finally pay. So don't expect supermarket shelves to look dramatically different overnight. What consumers are more likely to notice over time is greater choice, more competition, more premium products, and perhaps better prices in selected sectors. Every agreement looks different depending on who is reading it. A policymaker sees one opportunity, a business leader sees another. An exporter has different questions from an investor, and a diplomat brings yet another perspective. That is why the conversation won't end there, because no agreement should be understood through one voice alone. After we conclude this 5 part series, Global Order will bring together some of the most influential voices from business, diplomacy, trade, policy, people who've helped shape, analyze, and will ultimately implement this agreement. Together, we'll explore what CETA means from the boardroom, the negotiating table, and the factory floor. We'll ask questions that matter most for businesses, investors, and policymakers on both sides. So, if you've joined us on this journey so far, I hope that you'll stay with us for the conversations that follow. Because understanding an agreement is only the beginning. The real story begins when the people shaping its future start talking. I'm Lakshmi Kaul, and this is Global Order, CETA Decoded. I'll see you in the final episode.